I've been working out for over a decade now, and throughout that time, I've had periods where I was really dialed and I was extremely shredded. I tracked my macros. I did everything I needed to be able to make sure that my body was in prime condition. And I've gone through periods where I just kind of went through the motions. I didn't really care to show up as my best self whenever I was in the gym. I would come back from workouts and I wouldn't feel properly. I would eat whatever I'd want. And then once I left the gym, it was like I was just a completely different person because I was so obsessed with, like, working. And so I'd work out for an hour in the morning, and then the rest of my day would be spent with me sitting at a desk, hunched over, taking calls or creating something, and telling myself that it was helping me be able to focus myself more by not paying attention to my, like, health at that point in time because it was distracting me from what I was trying to accomplish. Like, I would not cook food anymore at home. I would end up working till, like, 2 in the morning and order junk food like Wendy's, or I would also like Wendy's, McDonald's was right across the street, like, foods like that because I was like, "Well, I need to eat something," but I didn't leave myself any time to be able to take care of my nutrition. And the funniest thing is, whenever I did that, I saw the slowest progress within my career. It was like I thought I was pounding the pavement by continuously sacrificing my health to be able to achieve some type of success within my career. But whenever I really zoom out, the times where I had the fastest and most impactful growth was whenever I was dedicated to my craft within inside of the gym and outside. So I would show up and I would push myself within my workouts. I would eat healthy so that I could think clear. I would take my supplements that would help me be able to recover, sleep better, and do all the things that you truly need to do to be able to get the most out of this vehicle that God gave us. God created the world with his words and he created us with his image, which means we are all creators. And the vehicle that he gave us to be able to create is our body and our mind. And so if we really want to be able to create and have the biggest impact that we can possibly have, we have to take care of the vehicle that's supposed to help us get that. And that's why I always said, if you are trying to reach that next level and you're not at 10% body fat, get to 10% body fat and you'll be able to see a huge difference in the way that you show up within everything. Why? Because it's not even necessarily about getting peeled. It's more so because of the standards that you have to hold yourself to be able to get to 10% body fat and be able to hold it for a long period of time. You have to show up to the gym. You have to push yourself in every way so that you can continue to stress out the muscle and be able to grow. You have to eat properly. You have to learn how to fuel your body with the proper nutrients for it to recover, grow, and be able to do the things it needs to help you show up the way you need to. You have to take supplements that will help you recover, which will again help you be able to show up better within work. And it's just like every single time that I dial these things in, everything else gets dialed. Because when you raise your standard in one area, you raise your standard in another because you allow yourself to see the gaps within your character whenever you put yourself at a higher vantage point, whether you're talking about your career, like fitness or whatever it is you're going after. And so what I challenge you to do is if you are somebody who has achieved some level of success and you realize that you've settled, because when you go look in the mirror and you take your shirt off, you are not at the standard that you know you should be at. You may be in better shape than the people around you, and that's cool, but like you are on a path that's different than them. And so for you to be able to accomplish your goal, you have to hold yourself to a different standard than everyone else. Because if you try and compare yourself to the normal, you will always receive normal. But the entire point of you going on this journey to make a big impact within the world, to have a career that allows you to provide for your family, that allows you to have the freedom, time, location, everything that you want. The reason you do that is because you don't want ordinary, you want extraordinary. You want extraordinary, which means you're going to have to put an extra effort to be able to get there. And everything starts with your body. So by first putting the body on a standard that forces you to completely shift the way that you show up within life, it will force you to do the same thing in everything else. And so that's why I always say shift the character, shift the outcome. Every person that comes through my shift protocol, they go through the three processes of creation, coordination, and installation. And in installation, one of the biggest things we do is we install a body that demands respect from you and everybody else that's around you. If you think about it, whenever you first see somebody, you judge them based on their looks. And whenever you see someone who is at 10% body fat, they have the bicep thing going, you can tell they take care of themselves. You are more interested in seeing what it is that they do, or just being around that person, because you can tell they hold themselves to a certain standard. And so if you want to get into a room with people that are high achievers, you have to be able to show it visually as well as mentally, and like being able to speak and articulate the value that you have. And by being able to get your body in shape, take care of your nutrition, and fuel your mind properly, you allow yourself to be able to do both those things. Because now you pass the eye test and you also are able to think clear, which allows you to pass the mind test as well, if you want to call it that. And if you're not at 10% body fat, and when you do get to 10% body fat, or if you've been at 10% body fat in the past, you just know that different feeling you get when you look at yourself in the mirror and you realize that you got that body from the standards that you hold. You can't cheat your way into being in shape. It's one of the only things that you can't just randomly inherit. Maybe you can have better genes, but if you don't take care of them, then you're not going to be in shape. You have to show up for yourself time and time again. And when you do that, you build a standard that makes it impossible for someone to break you. And if you want to win, if you want to succeed, you have to learn how to continue to show up one more time, how to continue to show up. And the more you show up for yourself within the gym and personally, you allow yourself to show up sharper within business, which means you are more efficient for the amount of time that you put into business. And when you do that, you allow yourself to also have more time for self development. Because if you truly want to continue to grow, you have to grow the self. And with self development, business, and your body growing all at the same time, you essentially build this trifecta of just power that nobody can take away from you, because you realize that you were the one that put in the work to be able to get there. And your body is proof, your mind is proof, and your results are proof. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about, because I feel like for a very long time within my journey as well, I got to like 12% body fat and I was like, oh, I'll stop here. This is fine. Like, I don't really have to work out too much. I'm still getting to eat whatever I want. I don't really think about my macros, but this is fine. And then as soon as I said, no, I'm putting myself to a higher standard, I immediately saw drastic results and everything. I started making more money. I got my dream partner. I found my purpose most of all. And now I know exactly what I want to do to be able to make an impact on this world and how I'm going to do it. And as long as I continue to show up within my fitness in every area of my life, I will be able to do it. And I know that it is almost inevitable for me to be able to achieve the things that I want to achieve because of the standards that I hold myself to. And I was able to build those standards in the gym. And then it went to every other area of my life. And so if you feel like you're stuck or you're slacking in some area, start with how you're showing up for yourself physically, mentally, and then use that to be able to increase your performance in every other area of your life. All right. I'll see you in the next one.